which been a lot of fun. I'll talk about that more later. Anyway, right now I am carving up a rock. Carving a rock. Yes, in theory, I could just go outside and find some rocks, but I'd probably have to dig them up and wash them off and stuff. Probably the easier way, but... Oh, hey, zombie. Came in just time to hear you say you're starting to get back into D2. Yeah, I'm getting back into D2. I was huge in Destiny. Like, right from the get-go. Okay, so... I gotta go way back. Huge Halo player. Played a... I'm gonna shift my laptop here so the webcam's more on me and less on my wall of 40k boxes above my bed. Got a few buddies that play it still. Yeah, so going back. Most of high school was just Halo 3. Just tons of Halo 3. And then Halo Reach, which I think I had one of the best progression systems in gaming. I like Halo 3s a lot too. I like their skill-based ranking systems. That's probably one of my favorite progression systems or ranking systems in all of gaming thus far. So yeah, when they announced Destiny, and me being into both fantasy and sci-fi, the idea of mixing high sci-fi with like deep fantasy, oh, dream come true. Amazing. Loved it. Played Destiny 1 from beta to right at the end. What was the last expansion called? Now, I know Taken King, obviously, but like the last one, we all had like holographic armor, and my dude looked like I called him a rave dinosaur because he looked like Crota, but it was all neon. It was hilarious. A few years back, probably about 8 years or so now, my buddy roommates wanted to play Halo again. I had 360 still some Halo games, spent 4 hours cackling on the couch while I domed him repeatedly. Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, played so much Halo 3 back in high school. This glue still has a set. I popped this off right before the stream started. So when I make the rocks and the White Scars bases, I actually cut sprues and I use them as skeletons. But because they're just sprues, they don't always have the best adhesion compared to, say, normal set miniatures. I might have to... Ugh, how do I want to deal with this? It is a very small... It was a cool shape, but it's a very small meeting point. It's a good plan. In theory, yeah, if you can get enough platform for where the sprue meets the base for it to be solid and not immediately snap off like that one did. Even though I want this cool like fork shape going on. But anyway. Yeah, Vaulted Glass, Crota's End, Taken King, so big into it. I had the app on my phone. I read the lore cards at work on my breaks whenever I wasn't reading 40k wikis. Vaulted Glass is so good. I never got big enough into like into traditional MMOs to like know the raiding experience on like WoW or anything. The MMO I played the most was probably MapleStory, which wasn't the same thing. So raids in Destiny, mind-blowing. Yeah, MapleStory. I'll talk about MapleStory after. So anyway, so yeah, I've been playing the same Titan character since Destiny beta. Like I have a hunter and a warlock, I just never play them. They've always been like barely above whatever the current minimum level is. Bowser, I'm a just big Titan main, primarily the Void stuff like Thunderdome. I will Thunderdome, especially like in Crucible. Like you're in my house now. Like I am Thunderdoming in the middle of that map, and no one's getting out alive. I haven't played MapleStory since middle school. I was playing in high school. It was pretty good. You bury Titans. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, Thunderdome, shotgun, overshields. Like, yeah, no one's getting out of this alive. So anyway, I haven't played in maybe like 3. Okay, last time I played was like beginning of Warmind. Like I did just enough to beat the campaign of Warmind, and I stopped. And I was just like, Destiny 2 always kind of like rubbed me slightly the wrong way. Blink lock. Oh man, I don't even know where I'm landing. So good luck tracking me. It's fine. I've got so much shields, health, resilience. It's whatever. I build myself as a tank. I do tank in most games, except D&D, where I'm primarily a caster, ironically. Well, okay, so here's the thing. I didn't like their change on, I didn't like their changes to the guns. Like, I really like the primary, secondary, like, primary, energy, heavy. That, good, gold. I didn't, like, in theory, like, oh, sniper shotgun all the time. That's fun in that concept, but terrible when considered I'm mostly a PvE player. Like I like Crucible now and again. The game mode's fun, but I'm really a PvE player. So, like, you never have the ammo to actually do that consistently in PvE. It's just like, whatever. So, like, yeah, I still haven't even played Gambit with a full squad. Like most of the time I end up playing solo because I never have people to play with. They have armor mods now for ammo drop. Well, they've had that for a long time, honestly. It's still... Anyway, so going back, and also like the gameplay speed, changed between D1 and D2, like the time for everything, time to kill, I feel like the movement changed slightly. I can't, like, confirm that, but it felt like that. It felt like the boot, just all the timing and stuff changed. I didn't like it. But I watched Bricky's video on the Witch Queen just because I was watching Bricky. I just wanted to watch Bricky. I was like, whatever. And he's like, this might be the best Destiny has ever been. And I'm like, okay, I respect Bricky's opinions. I agree with him on many things. And I just love the guy, okay? Bricky, amazing. So I'm like, alright, I could use a new game, right? Like, I've been playing this old 4X sci-fi game no one's ever heard of called Sword of the Stars, and I've been playing its sequel, and been trying to have fun with it, because I should be having fun, except it was never really finished, and it has a lot of, what do you call it? It crashes a lot. It just crashes a lot, basically, is what it comes down to. It has a couple, like, specific problems that just cause it to crash. And it's usually built, like, stuff dealing with the battles just makes it crash. Like, frustratingly often, and usually the fix is not just, restarting the game. It's usually like, okay, that specific battle, I gotta figure out which battle caused it to crash out of the several happening in a turn. And then put that in autoplay instead of me manually playing it, or something akin to that. It's really annoying. Having anything to play is literally what Kickstarter had the... Yeah, his stuff was just start actually making my game. I mean, fair enough. So that was really annoying, and I was also playing Enlisted. But Enlisted has just begun really frustrating right now because of where I am in, like, combination... Like, I've gotten myself cornered, where... Between my skill level, my campaign level, which is, you know, where you unlock your gear, like what weapons you have access to, etc., has put me in a situation where, as a primarily American player in the Normandy campaign, I am up against Germans that have consistently better equipment on, like, every single level. Or equivalent. It's equivalent or better gear, constantly. So... Games are usually one-sided against me, and especially the tanks. Like, the tanks, man, unless they just happen to be right behind unlocking their Panzer III, I'm having a really bad time with tanks, because the Panzer III, like, I'm really close to unlocking the M4A2 Sherman, but right now all I have is the M5A2 Scott and the M8, not Scott, Stewart, the M5A2 Stewart and the M8 Scott, neither of which have guns that can almost ever penetrate the Panzer III armor. So, like, a Panzer III shows up, my only option is getting in close with an infantry and throwing an explosive pack on top of it. Literally on top. The grenade has to land on top of the tank, sit there until it explodes. Whole. Well, okay, so here's this designing thing with Sword of the Stars is why that's fun for me, is because it's a 4X grand strategy game. By grand, I mean this thing is like Risk in space combined with like Star Wars Empire at War, but like better combat wise, actually. Like, actually it's a very in-depth live action combat on a frame of turn-based empire management. Like, it's one of the only games I've ever seen use this mode. Yeah, and I've really beaten the Minecraft, and I do have No Man's Sky. I played it a little bit not long after it first came out, but I beat the Minecraft gameplay loop to death when Minecraft came out. Like, I played it a lot over the course of like 5 years, like way too much. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Design your own ships and vehicles. No, I get you. Sword of the Stars. Let's see, how do I describe this? So, okay, firstly, right, so you have you take a turn-based strategy. Think like Civilization, right? And you manage your empire, and it's all these like sliders and a 3D, like fully 3D interactive star map, with information about every star system and planet and stuff, all these like details. It has a pretty large, in-depth tech tree that is dynamic, by the way. You're not guaranteed like a solid like 50% of the your solid 50% of the tech you're not guaranteed. There's a lot of factors, including sometimes they just literally won't show up. You just don't see them. While there are some base techs that you always get, for the most part, it's kind of a toss-up what tech you get. That then translates into this pretty deep ship designer. Every single gun bank, you can decide what guns go in it, of a bunch of different types. Not just like types of guns, I mean like entire different families of destruction devices. Like, you've got classic lasers, you've got beam lasers, you have fusion / antimatter ball chuckers, you've got ballistics of multiple types, from kind of like machine gun type things to giant cannons. I mean ginormous planet-cracking cannons that look like you took a nearly moon-sized ship and turned it into a giant revolver because compensation. Yeah, no, I'm not joking. It looks like a giant revolver. It's just the entire frame, like the spine of the ship is this giant railgun with this huge revolving canister, like, cartridge thing that's the middle of the ship, and you attach engines on that. Like, that's a high-end ballistics ship type. And you've got missiles, you've got energy torpedoes, which have a bunch of different types themselves. Someone invaded for space and made a mechanical star like a moon with grinders. That's funny. Okay, so let me explain some of the weapons I have right now. I'm pretty late into my current game, which is where it's getting really frustrating because I'm right about to deploy the largest type of ship in the game, Leviathans, which are like floating, they're like space stations made for war and given engines, effectively. Alright, I'm gonna call that a day. I think it looks pretty rock-like. I'm usually going for a kind of volcanic stone looking kind of deal, so I'd say this is kind of working. I'm just gonna let this like harden now. Alright, so I have my primary ship types. Like, okay, here's my mainline ship that I use constantly. Oh yes, yeah, the aircraft thing. You hit the nail on the head because there's a thing called battle riders in the game. So you know how you have like drones, right? Drones make sense. Drones is easy, and you have drones. You can use drones. Past like mid game, don't use drones because as soon as you get any type of good point defense, they are utterly useless. They won't get anywhere close to their target at all. Not like immediate shot out of the sky, like so bad. But you have this other thing called battle riders. Bad AI. Well, no, it's not bad AI. It's that when you get phaser, which is like a beam, a hyper accurate beam type laser, and then you get the point defense version of that, it can't miss, and it does just enough damage to automatically kill even a heavy drone. Especially if you get some certain power stuff that can up your damage just a little bit. It's not a whole lot of damage buffing directly, but it's a little bit. It's mostly increasing your rate of fire. But point defense is all about rate of fire, and they can't miss. So you have a large ship covered with a ton of small turrets that all have phaser point defense. You have to overwhelm them. My standard dreadnought, like, ship of the line ship, you actually can do weapons tests on them. It's like over 60 standard missiles before like 2 or 3 of them get through their defenses. No one's carrying that many drones without devoting like an entire fleet to drones. Like, and then they don't even do that much damage. The biggest gun they can carry is a medium turret per, which is dangerous in large amounts. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm almost tempted to, like, just bring up my game and show you some of this stuff, because it's really cool looking. But I don't, you know, maybe if I'm feeling it at the end of the normal painting part of the stream, maybe I'll do, like, an extra half hour or something and just play around with, Sword of Stars if you're still around and want to see it. So, okay, so my ship of the line red. Oh, all my monitors went black, but I still hear stuff, so I think it's just a flicker. Alright, so... Oh, yeah, Battle Riders. Battle Riders are basically ships, like your standard ships, but they take off their FTL and replace it all with more weapons and armor. And my specific favorite faction has the best Battle Riders in the game. Because they're designed the best, because they're designed by a hyper aggressive species. My faction is technically 2 species. One is actually really, like, not quite pacifistic, but just about there, but super good at science. And then they made, between the first game and second, they made an alliance with a offshoot of this hyper aggressive actual bioweapon species that then designed all their battle riders. And when it's late speed, when you can demolish everything in front of you, don't gotta outrun them. Well, yeah. So what it is you have a carrier ship. Let's say a cruiser is in the second. All right, I gotta explain the ship size terms. In the first game, you started with destroyers, then you worked your way up to cruisers, and then dreadnoughts. Dreadnoughts were your big bad ship, your flagship type size. Cruisers were your, like, go-to soldier. Destroyer was, like, your early game, and then later your, like, scouts and, like, support stuff with, like, electronic jammers and scanners and stuff like that. Which was mostly only, oh, I think my painting cam goes. Oh, don't tell me it's the other way around. Don't tell me I have to reset OBS to fix my 1 second. Reconnect. That button never does anything. Hold on. And nope, still not working. OBS is really wonky lately, and it's worse because I have to stick with an older version of it because the new giant update completely screwed my build and actually messed up one of my streams because it literally doesn't work with some of the apps I use. I think I have to refresh OBS. Give me a second. If I do this fast enough, it won't mess up Twitch too much.